This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garten and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
EVO. This series contains adult language and depictions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised. Before the glory of St. Peter's Basilica, before the thundering processions and papal coronations, there was only death. Vatican Hill, lying just outside the ancient boundaries of Imperial Rome, was a place of tombs and silence. Here, where shadows stretched long across the dusty ground, pagan and Christian dead alike were buried in a maze of catacombs, forgotten by the living, but cherished by those who remembered the promise of resurrection. In the year 64 CE, under the reign of Emperor Nero, a simple fisherman from Galilee, Peter, was crucified nearby, upside down at his own request, deeming himself unworthy to die in the same manner as Christ. According to tradition, his followers took his broken body, smuggled it into the necropolis, and buried it among Rome's poorest souls. Centuries passed. Christianity, once hunted, rose triumphant, and with Constantine the Great came the command to honor the Prince of the Apostles. Builders arrived with picks and shovels, leveling the tombs, leveling the pagan shrines, and raising a magnificent basilica over Peter's resting place. In their zeal, they entombed not only bones, but the very memory of everything that came before. Thus the Vatican was born, a kingdom of stone, forged in secrecy and designed to protect not merely faith, but power. In this sacred citadel, men learned to rule not only by the light of truth, but also by the careful management of darkness. Secrets became as vital as Scripture, silence more potent than any sword. It was within this legacy that centuries later, a young girl named Emanuela Orlandi would vanish. Not into the open streets of Rome, but into the silent heart of Vatican Hill itself. Welcome back to The Devil Within. You're listening to Innocence Lost, the disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. Rome in the summer of 1983 sweltered under a heavy, unrelenting sun. The city wore its history like a crumbling ancient robe. Every alley and piazza seemed stitched together by centuries of triumph and tragedy. Tourists swarmed the Spanish Steps and the Forum, their cameras flashing against marble that had once echoed the footsteps of emperors. Businessmen in sharply tailored suits swept by, mothers called after children darting between the gelato stands of Trastevere. Yet beyond the bustling theaters of daily life, a sense of unease lingered. Italy had barely emerged from the anni di piombo, the years of lead, when political bombings, assassinations, and extremist terror had shredded public trust. Kidnappings weren't uncommon. Public figures traveled with bodyguards, and ordinary citizens locked their doors against threats both seen and unseen. The Orlandi family had the rare distinction of living within the world of Vatican City. They were actual citizens of Vatican City, an enclave of just 110 acres, set apart from Italy, its own sovereign nation, ruled by the spiritual successor of St. Peter, the Pope. Emanuela was the fourth of 5 children, a cheerful, artistic girl of 15. She played the flute, she loved pop music, adored animals, and nurtured dreams of one day singing professionally. Despite living inside the Vatican's walls, her life was modest, structured by family, school, and music lessons. On that fateful Wednesday, June 22nd, she attended her flute class at the Pontifical Institute of Sacred Music, as she had many times before. Afterwards, she called her sister, describing an encounter with a man offering her a job distributing Avon makeup products at prestigious fashion events. The offer seemed strange, but the world of Rome, with its ceaseless intersections of glamour, commerce, and casual danger, made the improbable seem kind of plausible. Emanuela assured her sister she would discuss it with her further when she got home, and she hung up. She was last seen around 7 p.m. near Piazza Navona, standing by a bus stop, laughing with friends. Then, as the sun dipped low behind St. Peter's great dome, she slipped from the world's sight, as if the cobblestones had swallowed her whole. By nightfall, the Orlandi family's dread congealed into terror. In the Vatican, where the Pope's Swiss guards marched with ancient halberds and where centuries of protocol governed every action, an unthinkable reality was taking shape. One of their own had disappeared. That first night, when Emanuela didn't return, the Orlandi home, tucked within the solemn Vatican walls, became a shrine of silent dread. Mrs. Orlandi sat by the window, rosary beads slipping through trembling fingers, eyes fixed on the darkening courtyard. Pietro, Emanuela's older brother, paced the tiled floors, 100 frantic thoughts chasing each other through his mind. Maybe she missed the bus, maybe she's with friends, maybe, always another maybe. When midnight came and still no knock sounded at the door, hope curdled into horror. Pietro bolted into the Roman night, the heat of the cobblestones rising up through his thin sneakers. He pounded the familiar streets, past Castel San Angelo's grim fortress, through the twisting alleys of Borgo Pio, calling his sister's name. Emanuela! Emanuela! Only the distant clatter of closing trattoria answered him. At dawn, the family alerted the Vatican Gendarmerie, a force more accustomed to handling petty thefts and traffic violations than the disappearance of one of their own citizens. Italian police were also notified, but jurisdictional confusion reigned. Was this an Italian matter? Or did the Holy See claim sovereignty over its daughter? Hours passed, then days, then a week. Posters went up across Rome, a fresh-faced girl with large brown eyes, a playful half-smile, and the caption, "Missing. Help us find Emanuela." Tips flooded in. A nun claimed to have seen her in Trastevere. A taxi driver swore he picked up a girl matching her description, bound for the airport. Each lead proved hollow, evaporating like mist under scrutiny. Anonymous callers phoned the Orlandi home and the Vatican switchboard, spinning wild tales. Emanuela had fled willingly, or Emanuela had joined a terrorist group, or, the worst, Emanuela was safe, but wouldn't return. Each call was a dagger to the heart of the family. The media descended in a frenzy. Television crews camped outside the Vatican gates. Newspapers competed with lurid headlines. Vatican girl vanishes, Rome in panic. Conspiracy or teenage rebellion? Behind closed doors, Vatican officials grew increasingly uncomfortable. Publicly, they expressed concern. Privately, they urged the Orlandi family to remain discreet to avoid stirring scandal. Even Pope John Paul II, during a Sunday Angelus address, spoke of Emanuela, calling for her safe return and offering prayers. His voice, usually strong and commanding, cracked slightly as he invoked her name. But prayers alone could not unearth her. The Orlandi family, once simple Vatican citizens leading quiet lives of service, had been thrust into a labyrinth where sacred power and earthly corruption entwined their coils like serpents. By the fall of 1983, rumors had taken on the density of storm clouds. Among Roman police, among Vatican insiders, among mafia operatives whose whispers could start wars, the name Emanuela Orlandi carried a strange electric charge. One theory took hold like wildfire. The Banda della Magliana, Rome's most feared criminal syndicate, had orchestrated the kidnapping. Going online without ExpressVPN is like driving without car insurance. Sure, you might be a great driver, but with all the crazy people on the road these days, why would you take that risk? I've been traveling a ton these last few months. Tons of airports, tons of hotels. And every time I connect to an unencrypted network, my online data is not secure. Any hacker who happens to be on that same network can easily gain access and steal all of my personal data. And it doesn't take a bunch of technical knowledge, just some cheap hardware. My 12-year-old could do it if she put her mind to it. Your data is valuable, and ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing it by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. You fire up the app, you click one button, boom, you're protected. And it works on all of your devices, phones, tablets, laptops, so you can be secure anywhere you go. My data, my work, my photos, my banking information, all of that stuff is super important to me. That's why I don't go anywhere without ExpressVPN. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/devilwithin. That's expressvpn.com/devilwithin to find out how you can get up to 4 extra months free. expressvpn.com/devilwithin. The folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting a summer bod is out. Getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans from Mint Mobile for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking a sweat or your bank account. I ditched my legacy wireless carrier after 20 years. I live in LA, I work a ton in New York, and I travel all around the country because my kids are athletes. And everywhere I go, the calls are crystal clear. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, and they're delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Ditch those overpriced plans and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/devilwithin. That's mintmobile.com/devilwithin. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, vacation season is basically here. And this year, you know what? I'm treating myself to some upgrades, luxury upgrades with Quince's high-quality travel essentials at fair prices. Don't know what you're going to wear on vacation? Quince has lightweight shirts and shorts from $30. They have pants for any occasion and comfortable lounge sets. They also have premium luggage options and durable duffel bags to carry all of your stuff. And the best part is that all of Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. So I have a lot of national and international travel coming up in the next 3 months. So you know what I did? I ditched that carry-on that I've had for, I'm ashamed to say, 15 years, telling myself, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's luggage, you're supposed to keep it forever. No, you're not. Replace it. Go to quince.com and check out their luggage options. I decided on their carry-on because no matter where I go, I travel very light. I did some comparison shopping, and there was no comparison. For your next trip, treat yourself to the luxe upgrades you deserve from Quince. Go to quince.com/devilwithin for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/devilwithin to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/devilwithin.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
The Banda were no mere street gang. Born in the bloody chaos of the 1970s, it had evolved into a sprawling criminal empire, entangling itself with corrupt politicians, rogue police officers, and most damningly, elements of the Vatican itself. Their leader, Enrico Ranatino de Pettis, cut a chilling figure, dapper, educated, and as ruthlessly efficient as any Roman emperor. De Pettis was not a man who made casual threats. When he moved, empires trembled. Multiple informants suggested that De Pettis, acting on behalf of powerful allies, had sanctioned Emanuela's abduction to pressure the Vatican Bank. The bank, under the leadership of Archbishop Paul Marcinkus, a burly American often referred to as the gorilla behind closed doors, had long been accused of shady dealings. Allegations including laundering mafia money and funneling illicit funds into covert anti-communist operations worldwide, especially in Eastern Europe and Latin America. Roberto Calvi, former head of Banco Ambrosiano, who was dubbed, quote, God's banker, was once quoted as saying that without Vatican protection, I'm a dead man. In 1982, Calvi was found hanging beneath London's Blackfriars Bridge, his pockets stuffed with stones, assigned to insiders of a Masonic execution. Emanuela's disappearance, then, was no isolated tragedy. It was a move in a game of celestial chess, where bishops and bank accounts, bullets and prayers were all just pieces to be maneuvered. The most shocking revelation came years later. De Pettis himself had been buried, at the Vatican's behest, behind the Basilica of Saint Apollinaire, an honor reserved for saints and princes of the church, not for heads of organized crime organizations. When asked why, an embarrassed Vatican official muttered, well, he was generous to the church. The words fell like lead in the ears of a nation already losing its faith. For the Orlandi family, grief calcified into a permanent companion. Days bled into nights, months became years. Emanuela's absence became a wound that refused to scab over. Her parents aged visibly, lines etching their faces like the weathering of stone, while her siblings each carried a shard of guilt, wondering if something, anything, could have been done differently. But it was Pietro, the older brother once content with his quiet Vatican life, who transformed most completely. From a devastated sibling, he became an unrelenting investigator, a warrior armed not with a sword, but with the only weapons left to the powerless: persistence and public memory. Pietro plastered Rome with new posters year after year. He stood outside Vatican gates with a megaphone. He gave interviews, not just to Italian media, but to CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, anyone who would listen. He led marches through St. Peter's Square, chants echoing off Bernini's great colonnade. We want the truth. We want Emanuela. At first, the Vatican expressed polite support, then weary annoyance, then finally, cold silence. Requests for Vatican cooperation were met with a bureaucratic wall. Letters went unanswered. Appeals for the opening of secret archives were quietly denied. Meetings with Vatican officials turned into empty rituals, the participants mouthing sympathy but offering no substance. In 2008, Italian journalist Pino Nicotri uncovered new evidence suggesting a link between the criminal organization run by De Pettis, the Vatican Bank, and Emanuela's disappearance. In 2012, Italian authorities took the extraordinary step of exhuming De Pettis' crypt in St. Apollinaire. Beneath the polished marble slab of the gangster, they found not only his body, suspiciously well preserved, but also artifacts suggesting that the tomb had been used to store secret items over the years. But no trace of Emanuela, no confession, no final answer. Meanwhile, others advanced alternative theories that Emanuela had been kidnapped as leverage to free Mehmet Ali, the Turkish assassin who had attempted to kill Pope John Paul II in 1981. That rogue elements of the Vatican, fearing scandal over sex abuse allegations, had silenced her. That the KGB, desperate to destabilize the Pope's Polish-based anti-communist initiatives, had orchestrated the plot. Each theory had its adherents as well as its flaws. Each new revelation brought Pietro closer to the Vatican's gates, but never through them. In 2019, Pope Francis offered a stunning but chilling admission. Emanuela is in heaven. No explanation, no investigation, no justice. For Pietro, it was a slap across decades of suffering. For the world, it confirmed what many had long suspected. The Vatican knew far more than it ever dared to admit. The Vatican had weathered crises before: schisms, sackings, inquisitions, even Nazi alliance and occupation during World War II. But Emanuela Orlandi's disappearance became something uniquely corrosive, a small, persistent poison in the bloodstream of faith itself. For many Italians, long conditioned to view the Church as a flawed but essential guardian of tradition, the Orlandi affair cracked the illusion of moral superiority. If the Vatican couldn't protect its own child, worse, if it could bury the truth of her fate, what claim could it make to spiritual leadership? Emanuela's case became a dark emblem. Her face, eternally 15, became an icon of betrayed innocence, a new kind of martyr, not for the faith, but for the failure of faith's custodians. Among the Orlandi family, the effects were equally profound. Mrs. Orlandi, once a lively woman known for her laughter echoing down the Vatican's narrow stairwells, grew quiet. She took to lighting candles daily at St. Anne's Gate, the Vatican's small entrance, where Swiss Guard nodded sympathetically, but offered no answers. Pietro, stubborn as a medieval crusader, refused to let the world forget. He never married, dedicating his life to advocacy. His home became a warren of documents, photographs, timelines pinned across walls like a general's war map. And still, every year on June 22nd, they gathered in Piazza San Pietro, in local Roman churches, in television studios, to keep alive the memory of a girl who vanished into the hollows of the Holy City. Vatican Hill stands unchanged. The pilgrims come and go, clutching guidebooks and cameras, murmuring prayers against the grandeur of St. Peter's towering facade. The popes rise and fall, the scandals surge and recede. The stones remember. Beneath the gilded domes and marble altars, the ancient bones of martyrs sleep. And somewhere, beyond the reach of tourists, hidden within the labyrinth of archives, vaults, and whispered confessions, lies the truth of Emanuela Orlandi. A truth guarded not by angels, but by men in crimson robes and Roman collars. Yet as long as her name is spoken, by a brother's voice cracking with sorrow, by a mother's soft prayer, by a candle flickering against the Vatican winds, Emanuela Orlandi endures. Not as a forgotten victim, but as a question that will one day inevitably demand an answer, because history, like faith, demands that even the most sacred walls must eventually surrender their secrets. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, share it with someone who you think would also enjoy it. That would help me out a lot. And if you want to go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, rate and review the show, because any engagement with the algorithm boosts my numbers. You can follow our socials at The Devil Within Pod on Instagram, and check out our videos on YouTube, and now video content also on Spotify. Again, thanks for listening, and until next time, stay safe out there. The Devil Within is an EVO production, recorded live at Bel Air Studios in Los Angeles, California. For The Devil Within, I'm your host, Brandon Morgan.